In an investigation for a fraud case, especially in a mortgage fraud case, you have a number of different types of people who are involved. Some of those people may end up being witnesses for the government and not being prosecuted. Some people may be prosecuted and become witnesses as well. Some people may be on the bubble, so to speak, where it's yet to be determined if they're going to be a target of the investigation, a defendant, or if they're simply going to be called to be a witness by the government. In one of the typical mortgage type fraud cases, you could have a number of types of people involved, such as a lender, a broker, investors who are called upon to put money into the investment in real estate. You'll have loan closers, title company personnel, notaries, and it's not unusual also to find people who have been contacted to be paid a fee to come in and either sign documents or be responsible for being on a loan, or to simply use their name and their good credit, although they're told they're not going to be responsible by the people who are perpetrating the scheme or who are alleged to have done that. So the government in its investigation will determine along the way who was involved from their perspective and who was not. And again, sometimes you may have people who are technically involved, such as a person who's paid to come in and sign some documents that's technically a misrepresentation, but because of their low-level activity, their less significant involvement, the government may want to not prosecute them and use them as witnesses. You have some people in the middle who, if you have counsel, can go in pre-indictment with the government attorneys and try to dissuade them from being prosecuted. That's a situation that you can find in a lot of different cases, but that's an example of a mortgage fraud case where you have people who are kind of caught in the middle and they may have done something they shouldn't have, but the question then becomes, should it rise to the level of prosecution, or is it just a limited type of activity that they were involved in and they shouldn't be prosecuted, or they're following orders from their superiors, and did they object to it along the way? Those types of things can all be factors in deciding whether or not somebody's going to be prosecuted or not. Again, from my perspective, if you have counsel going in prior to indictment, then you can at least be ahead of the game in trying to dissuade prosecution if you find yourself in one of those areas.